Agriculture is one of the main areas of Internet of Things in Brazil. And I'm here at FutureCon 2016 with Fabio Hashimoto, which is Director of Technology at PromonLogicalis, who will showcase IoT solutions for agriculture. So mainly we have here some crops, and we need some connectivity to measuring everything that is working. So how does it work, and is it a pilot yet?
Well, yeah, it is a pilot. We're testing some solutions in customers that are looking to not only help enhance their knowledge on their cultures, doing precision agriculture. So you see a lot of sensors here that are gathering information on specific conditions of the weather, like humidity, both on the air and on the surface, on the ground itself, temperature in the air and in the ground itself, the rain conditions, air pressure, what else? Wind conditions, direction of the wind and speed of the wind. So all of this is going to help a lot on precision agriculture. But we also have the case on players in Brazil that are acquiring equipment that are already supposed to work with connectivity, like tractors, for example, that already come with equipment to connect to the internet and not only provide information to central management offices, but also to be commanded remotely. The big issue normally for those players is that while they are acquiring this equipment that are supposed to be connected to the internet connectivity is pretty bad still in these regions. So they've come to us to help us try to solve this problem for them. What we're showing here is not only the result of this information gathering from all of these sensors for precision agriculture, but also a pilot results from a project that we've done in Brazil, okay, where we use Wi-Fi to cover this region here, okay, and enable all of these internet-connected solutions to work. The issue that we had here is that the signal from cell phone operators was not covering this region good enough. Okay, so instead of trying to build up a new antenna in the middle of the crop to solve the problem, we talked to this Brazilian startup that came up with this idea of using a balloon, okay, to gather the signal from the cell phone towers and use Wi-Fi to radiate the signal into the crops. So you'll see here when I use Wi-Fi that this whole region was covered by one single access point and one balloon, okay, similar to the one that we see over there. Of course, the balloon that we use is much bigger than this one, okay.
Which area can the balloon cover?
This covers a few miles, okay, using Wi-Fi, of course. The balloon we used 150 meters. Okay, and that of course has to do also with flying regulations. Okay, so we tested in a space where we wouldn't have problems with helicopters, planes, and others. Okay, and for this test, cover a few miles. But and we're using Wi-Fi, which though it worked, might not be the most optimized technology for this use case specifically. So one test that we're simulating here is instead of Wi-Fi, if we use LoRa, which is a protocol specialized for IoT.
It's Wi-Fi also, right? It's big.
Yeah, it is wireless also. It transmits at a lower frequency, much less data than Wi-Fi is capable of, with much wider range, as you can see over here. So basically, we could cover, I think, almost 5 times more than we would have with Wi-Fi.
And why do you think about balloon instead of drones? Some companies are betting on drones to do exactly, well, almost the same thing.
Well, I think both technologies are valid. I think none of them still is proved. So yes, we are testing with balloons, as other companies are testing with drones. I do think that balloons are more stable, especially when you think of solutions like this, gathering signals from other existing cell towers, for example, or maybe working with fiber optics cables, for example, to provide good coverage with good bandwidth. But again, I think people are very creative out there and might find solutions with drones that work very well as well, and are probably more mobile. So I see advantages and disadvantages on both approaches, and both are valid for me.
And we are seeing a lot of IoT deployments in agriculture in Brazil, and it's pretty easier to guess why due to the potential of agriculture in Brazil. Do you think projects like this will be focused on large farms, or is it still good for small and medium or families farmers?
That is a great question. I do see that a project like these are suited to the large farms, due mainly to the fact that these are the ones who have the budgets to afford. And again, I'm not talking capex only. We actually offer this as a service solution. Okay, but the agriculture model in Brazil is really based on not on large companies, but families that actually gather their crops and sell to larger companies that will buy these crops. So I think it starts on those companies, but we're gonna have to figure out a way to reach these smaller producers.
And what do you think is going to be more common in Brazil? I mean, even family farms will be using kind of some IoT solutions, not everything, but just part of the projects, or just improving some knowledges, or using data collected from a small crop, or anything like this. What do you think is going to be a reality in Brazil?
That's a tough question, but well, I can foresee some things. For instance, I do think that some of these familiar business might want to focus on niche plays like premium products, for example, and might use precision agriculture in order to not just enhance productivity, but the quality of what they're producing, trying to replicate ideal conditions that they find in some of their lots of earth, for example. But I do also think that the companies that are buying their crops, for example, and not only crops, that are in the agriculture space, there are also concerns about, for example, pig farming or oxen, where you give your pig or ox for someone to take care of it for 6 months and make it fat, so that of course it can later on become meat, okay, for them. So, and what is the visibility that these companies have over what these families are doing, how they're taking care of their crops, what kind of pesticides they're using, if they're organically working on or only with organic or not, how's the evolution of the cattle, for example. So I think IoT solutions can also help provide this visibility to the companies that are buying, and I see them interested maybe in the future to help these smaller families acquire these solutions.
Thank you a lot for this interview.
Oh, thank you very much. My pleasure.
I'm Roberta Prescott. Stay tuned at rtlwireless.com.